Can you hear me okay?
I don't hear you at all.
You don't? Oh.
That's good because I can hear myself.
How about now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
It's amazing how much better you can hear me when there's a microphone in front of me.
That was one of our dumber. Oh, you were recording that.
Yes, I was. Welcome to a BS podcast. Bobby is here with your favorite shrimp boat captain, Mark.
I'm gonna punch Chad right in the crotch. That Jeff says that too. I like you do know you do know that's not what I do, right?
It's funny.
I finally seen a picture of him at his niece's graduation with his new teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. No, definitely looks good. So I got an episode. I don't want to say an episode. I got a subject.
Okay.
And I want to call it. I think we've talked about it before. I think what we talked about was burnout. I want to call it second wind.
Okay.
Because I seriously feel like I have caught my second wind with wrenching. This past week, even some of the week before. It like I'd say even the whole week before, it was like back in the McAllister days or even back in the Warsaw days. Like I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it at all. It's by no means is this something I still want to make a career out of. You know, I've only been doing it 20 some years, but I feel like I'm back. It's tolerable again.
Yeah.
And I do. I gotta say, like. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's all 100% just because, you know, out doing the boat stuff on the weekends. But I think a lot of it it's changed my attitude a little bit. Hasn't changed my outlook or goals, but if anything, it's made them a lot worse.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, like this week, it was obviously a short week for us, a short week for everybody. And I mean, heck, I had every day was an 11-hour day, and I had one 14-hour day, and it was not bad. I was fairly happy. I didn't come home, and Katie even noticed it. She's just like, you're a lot happier. Oh, excuse me.
So what brought that on?
In all honesty, I think the weekends it's clearing. It's just clearing my head.
Giving you a taste of the other side of it.
Yeah, I have a goal. It's given me the goal. There's some things I've talked to Katie about. Some things I've talked to you about. I ain't gonna get into them yet. Once if they become a little bit more real, I will.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's given me a new purpose. I feel like, and now my mechanic job is the tool now. Before it was my punishment. That's 100% how I felt. It was my penance for something. I don't know if it was a past life or what, but it was my punishment, and that's how I felt. And my attitude on that's changed. It's the tool now. It's what can provide what is to come, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, because you know I always enjoy my weekends. Even when I wasn't going over and working on the boats, I'd enjoy my weekends. Like, you know, we'd do some stuff, or you know, me and the wife would do stuff. I mean, the kids, the family, I guess.
Yeah.
We'd go on a vacation, because that's the thing. You go on a vacation. I don't know about you. Jeff, we were talking about, he'd go on a vacation, he'd come back to work, be twice as mad, and that's about how I'd be, but I kind of see it now.
I come back from vacation, and the last thing I want to do is go back to work.
Yeah. and that's I'm with you, but it's like every weekend now is kind of a vacation for me, and I come back and like, hey, I'm ready. it's cleared my head. I have a clear vision. But before, the clear vision was, for the longest time, it was I'm gonna work for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And made 2 goes at it. The first time lasted about a week, long enough for a service truck to blow up and a wife to implode on me. But
I remember that.
The second time I did it, I went out on my own. My good buddy Gavin, who we were going to have on, I pretty much was a subcontractor for him, and it was, here you go, like, I'll feed you as much as you want, and that was great, and there was no reason to do anything. I learned though that wasn't me. That wasn't what I wanted. I have 2 girls. There's nothing to pass down. It's just purely money.
Yeah.
And you can make some more money, but going out on your own with your own service truck, every single day you're risking it.
Right.
Because you do one wrong repair, and that, repair you might have made $1,000 on could cost you 10. Your service truck dumps an engine, right there's 25. So, is it worth it? Is it not? With in my situation right there, it just wasn't. But it was, it was that was a good, honest, like, there it is. Like, we're giving it all. There was, threw caution to the wind, went after it, and it wasn't a failure at all. It was something I feel as though if there's ever a documentary on me, they would say, and at this point, Mark learned he will not be a mechanic for himself.
And I mean, I've known you long enough now too. I think you figured out part of it too. Same reason I don't think I've ever gone out on my, and you know how close I was during the whole COVID ordeal. I was one of the fortunate people, and I think we've talked about it on here before. During COVID, I got laid off from my welding job at a production shop. I was working at a factory, got laid off, and I had enough work going on at home that I was making as much money being laid off. Actually, I made more money because I was still getting the federal unemployment. I didn't get any state unemployment, but the federal still. I was like, but even then, if I hadn't, I could have got nothing because, in all honesty, we put that money into savings. I wouldn't spend it for the longest time because I thought we were gonna like hose us and go after us for tax the living daylights out of us on it. That's what I was expecting. So I don't think we used that till 2 years later, and I used it to pay for vacation. But it's the administrative end of it. That is what. And the bad part is I've managed 2 different service departments. I managed a shop, and then I managed a service department, and it's like, I know that I can do that, but it's the part of it I hate.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know how I feel about going out and wrenching. I mean, I work on some of my own stuff. But
you've been going uptown to get your oil changed.
Yeah.
At that price,
well,
though, yeah.
That's just on the car. I still change the oil in the truck, but the car, it's like it cost me. The oil I run in the car cost me $32 to get enough oil to do an oil change. I can take it to where we bought the car from, and since I bought it from them, they'll do an oil change for $30.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste my time. I drop it off on Friday night, and sometime on Saturday afternoon, me and Carmen swing by and pick it back up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and I'll either, if I get there while they're open, I do it, or I'll call them on the phone and I pay for it over the phone. So.
No, you're right, and that's one thing. I mean, we gotta get Gavin on here so he can. He can talk. We
gotta get a lot of people on here.
Yeah, we've got to get a lot of people, but
we got to start making this a a more regular thing.
Yeah, we got to do it more than once 3 weeks so we can start getting that done. But yeah, the administrative part, and that's that. And I'm getting way off track, but that's what I've told him. It's taught me I'll never own a service business. Because even you take the administrative, you take all that stuff away, you go out, perform a miracle for somebody and resurrect their garbage, and you charge them accordingly at a labor rate that's close to half of what a big dealership is.
Right.
And they're still going to complain to you and say, you weren't here for 2 hours, you were here for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. You go buy a service truck and you buy 20 plus years of experience.
Yep.
And,
exactly.
And then you can charge whatever in the world you want. It's like, I have overhead to pay.
Yep.
Even though I'm out here and it don't look like much, it's a lot. And I have to put back, part of that overhead is planning for when this truck breaks down, when my crane on my service truck quits working, when my $900 air impact explodes, and yeah, I can send it in and get it repaired, but I got to have a spare so I can still work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that stuff, whether or not you're buying it that day, you've bought it and you got to pay for it. But all that stuff there that at work was bothering me these past week and a half, 2 weeks, it's just gone. And the foremen haven't changed. They're still wanting it all. But I just, my attitude isn't really gotten any different. It just, I'm okay with it. Like I'm happy. I feel like I caught my second wind, and there's some prevailing circumstances. Like I said, I don't want to get into them. We'll wait on that, but I'm happy about it. And I just wanted to, I've always taken a lot of time and kind of griped about what I've done and all that. And it's like, I don't want to gripe about it. I'm actually, because where we're at, we can use our own service trucks, and you get paid a certain tax-free wage on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have a call with the big boss Monday or Tuesday, and I'm going to suggest to him I'm going to use my own truck. I'm going to use my pickup, and I'm going to put together a trailer, an enclosed trailer. I know he's going to come with, you don't have a crane. Well, I got my truck brand new. I got my truck with 70 miles on it, and so the crane meter had no hours on it.
How many hours is on it now?
2. and I don't know how to phrase it, but those I can tell you there's less than 20 minutes of work time, because I do use it around like to pick up a reamer.
Yeah,
but I'm using it to do something I'm more than capable to doing. But even like the trailer, I can outfit.
How are you gonna pick up a 28-inch reamer?
Because I can't be on these job sites unless an operator's there. I can't work on them reamers unless the operator's there, because they're there to help.
Oh.
They're there to help. Yeah.
Oh my.
So they're gonna. Well, and there's always a
thing
backhoe. Every single job we're on has a backhoe.
Yeah. So you got some way to load it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's all that, because if I couldn't do it, the welders couldn't do it to pick it up either. So, but then I can upfit the trailer with a very capable generator. I can throw a buzz box on there, and I can throw my MIG in there too.
Yep.
Hard surfacing those, welding. I can do a lot of stuff quicker in 90.
Well, and if you get a decent enclosed trailer, we could do like a log arch off the back of the frame, so you'd still have a way to heave it up there if you wanted to.
And that was, in all honesty, yeah, we
I just got a brilliant idea for the back of a trailer in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd probably do something like that.
This is kind of scary.
But, well, the big boss, he's pretty, like, your truck's got to have a crane, and very few of the trucks that the guys bring in have cranes. But mine doesn't have a service body. That's a waste. I want to take out a 25-foot enclosed gooseneck, drop it off at the job, and then I can just use my truck to buzz back and forth for parts, and I have a mobile shop right there.
Yeah.
90% of what I work on is not heavy equipment.
It's kind of what you and I talked about when I was discussing getting more into the small engine and compact.
Yeah.
Compact stuff.
There is always a use for a crane, but those cranes go bad sitting there, and that's I just used mine today, actually pulling some more of those posts out. But that's something I'm gonna talk with him about, and it'll be nice if it works out. If it don't, it don't. It's kind of whatever there, but yeah, that was something I wanted to talk about. I guess I just wanted to share it. I've been complaining enough about my stuff, so when something good was happening.
I'm going to interrupt you. This is so weird. I have my phone hooked to my laptop now.
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm sitting in here, everything on my phone shows up on my laptop, and it really jacks with my head.
Oh. Well, what is that? What's Pornhub?
No.
What?
No.
What does that say?
That is not what that's. That's a text message
Oh.
from Jackwagon.
Oh, sorry. It definitely does not say that then.
The people I go to church with listen to this.
Oh,
Thanks. I appreciate you.
I mean, we all have our demons. Speaking.
I'm just going to put this out there, people. Make sure you get good friends. Sorry, I had a guy supposed to be... I'll text him later. I don't care.
So why don't you tell us what this rank stuff you're smoking is? This is...
So this... I got a sample of this stuff when I was in Chicago from a guy, Jess from Jess Piping. I've talked about it on my YouTube, one of my YouTube channels. And this is Galworth and Hogarth. What does it say?
And Company.
Black Twist Slice.
Yeah, Black Twist Slice.
So this is like the sliced version of Black Irish Twist. And he gave me a sample of the sliced up there. I really, really liked it. And so when I ordered it, I ordered the sliced and I don't have it down here. I also ordered it in the rope, so it looks like a dog turd.
Yeah.
So I can kind of compare the sliced versus the twist, and it has a when the stuff showed up on the front porch, I wasn't quite home from work. No, I'm lying. I just got home from work. Carmen is standing on the front porch, and she says, "I don't know what that crap is in that box, but it needs to disappear out of my living room." She says, "I could smell it on the porch."
And I'm not going to say it's just different. Because you say it's delicious.
In all honesty, this is like tobacco wise, as far as pipe tobacco, it is super smooth to smoke. Like I can chief on this stuff. I can get it so hot that the bowl, you don't want to hold on to the bowl of pipe. Still don't get tongue bite from it. It to me, when you smell it, it smells almost like a smoked meat. If you really think about it, like burnt ends.
It's strong.
It's strong.
It is strong.
Yes. And when you're smoking it, the flavor I get in my mouth, the best way I know how to describe it is meat candy.
Yeah.
Like the burnt ends on the brisket, the stuff that falls off when you slice up a really good smoked brisket. It tastes like the burnt ends that are down there in the slop. Oh yeah, so you know exactly what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, I really just want to add the podcast to go get burnt ends now.
So I know the odor, and see, to me, when like sitting here as I'm smoking it, the smell I get from it, I still get that same odor that I get from the taste.
You got to really get in there. You got to take a draw on it.
My understanding is when they process this stuff and they're turning it into a twist, I think somebody said they actually cure it with olive oil, because the downside to it is it's like impossible to dry out. Like you've noticed, like, and we've been talking, but like I have to light this 47 times to get it to go.
Yeah.
It takes forever to get it lit. But I don't mind it because it is just so good. I mean, the bad part is like the twist. I don't even remember how much I bought of the twist. This is probably one of them. The sliced isn't bad, like for 4 ounces. I think 4 ounces is comparable to like ordering house blends from the Country Squire. But if you get it in the rope, it's, well, even then I'd still say it's fairly comparable. But it's one of the more pricey tobaccos that I get.
Can we just refer to that as a quarter pound, a QP?
I'm sure, whatever. But it's I don't know. It's probably it's I would say it's working its way into probably one of my primary tobacco blends. Like this is especially the slice, because there's no messing around with it. I can load it up and just go. So I'm kind of I may stick more to the slice versus the rope, but I'm going to experiment with it some more and see what I think. But I know it's working way better in this billiard. I'm smoking one of my Peterson Irish Harps. I think this is a 53. But it definitely likes this bowl. This is probably the best pipe I've smoked it in.
Yeah, okay.
So, but it's I don't know, it's just really good. But yeah, Carmen said the same. Carmen does not like the smell of it.
Strong.
Yes.
but so like you take a little whiff of it and it's got it's a little pungy. You take a draw on it and you get that smoked, that smokiness. It ain't.
So
it's still strong.
At Chicago, I was sitting in a smoking tent.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. There was almost 1,000 people at the Chicago Pipe Show. I don't know how many people were sitting in the smoking tent Saturday night after the pipe show closed, but there weren't very many open seats in the smoking tent. I could smell this as I was smoking it in the smoking tent. It definitely has a distinct odor.
When's the next show you're going to? Isn't there an Ohio one?
Columbus is the, I think, first weekend in Ohio. Or first weekend in August, like the 8th and 9th or something like that. And I'm planning on going over to that just to see what it's like. And then the Indiana Pipe Show is September 20th, and they're going to have like a meet and greet thing Friday the 19th in the evening at Massinawal Cigar Company. So that's somebody else. I'd like to get what's this?
It's a guy I know shared that.
Where are they at?
Tennessee.
Pampa P Smoke Shop. That's Perdomo Legacy. In Franklin, Tennessee. Hey, apparently you can pick up Perdomo Legacies in Franklin, Tennessee at Papa P's Smoke Shop.
Yeah, I was going to send you a screenshot, and then that's actually why I called you.
I actually, I got to smoke a Legacy last week or the week before.
Is that the kit you bought or whatever?
Yeah, so I ordered like a 5-pack or a 6-pack. I don't remember, from Two Guys. Was it Two Guys Cigars? If anybody on here listens to the Cigar Authority, it's those guys. Or actually, it was the Ash Holes podcast.
Wait, hold on.
Ash, A-S-H, Ash Holes.
Ash Holes.
The Ash Holes podcast.
Like that.
But it's Two Guys. I'm pretty sure it's Two Guys Cigars. Anyways, they're like in New Hampshire or something. But that's where they Perdomo launched Legacy at. Or did their release or whatever they call it. They were like the first shop to get Perdomo Legacy. And I did not get to try the sun-grown or the shade-grown. I got the Legacy Connecticut, which was good. to me, it was very similar to a Perdomo champagne, which means absolutely nothing to you. But to me,
right.
it was very similar to a champagne, which is like their number one in Connecticut, I believe. I've been waiting. I've got waiting on them to notify me when they have more in. But if that place has it, I'm gonna check. One of our local shops may have gotten, but there's only like 100 cigar dealers getting Legacy to start with. So, and I didn't think they were supposed to get them until June, and it's what is today? Today's the last day of May. So I don't, yeah.
Huh.
We'll have to see.
Well, that's, yeah, I seen that, and I'm like, I better show Bobo.
Well, I am a Perdomo fanboy for sure. That's like, I would venture to say if you told me I could only buy one cigar and that was the cigar I had to smoke the rest of my life, I would buy Perdomo Habano Sun-Grown Epicures day in and day out.
I'm going to check.
And I can smoke them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I think there's a smoke shop up in Michigan City.
Probably.
I don't get through there much, but I want to say it's right across from the outlet.
Hey, Mark, you're turning this more into a tobacco podcast.
No, I just asked my one thing, and I let you
Okay.
go about it. I just want you to feel like you're getting a word in, too.
I need this to clean me out after the first part of the day. So
Yeah, so
That's
how was teaching the kids how to swing hammers?
today went much better than it has been recently. The kids, the younger kids are definitely picking up on it. Some of the ones that I still have trouble with getting them to understand hammer control, they weren't there this weekend, so that made my life a little easier. But it was a full day, so we were in there. I'm not sure what time Jerry was there this morning. I rolled in at like 5 till 7. We lit 7 forges because we were supposed to have 7, 7, and 4. And I think we wound up with 8, 8, and 5.
You're saying, and that's ages.
No, groups, because we have 8 forges.
Okay.
We have 8 forges in the shop.
What's the project?
So it's the 4-H blacksmith project.
But what's the project?
So it depends. It's marked out like first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, which is just a rough estimate for us. With the 4-H project, unlike most of the other 4-H projects, blacksmithing is a continuous project. Because with the exception of a few months of the year, our project never really ends. Because we have so many kids sign up for it, we only have 8 forges and we only run 3 classes once a month. And so the kids only get a 2-hour shot. The thing is with all the other stuff going on and the fact that we meet on Saturdays, there's kids that'll show up, they'll miss 3 meetings a year, right? Well, those weekends, other kids that normally aren't there are there. Like today, we had a kid, and it's his last year. Today is the first meeting he's made it to this year. And the year technically starts in January. And the reason we do it that way is it's January, February, March, April, May, June. There's no meeting in July.
Because that's when the fair is?
Because of the fair. We were trying to have meetings in August, but the meeting always falls right at State Fair and school starting. So it's a crapshoot whether or not you have kids show up. So sometimes you'll have 2 classes. Sometimes you'll have 3 people for the first class, and that's it. So August has been a crapshoot. I don't know if we're going to run an August class this year. I don't think we did last year. And then we do September and October, and then we don't meet in November or December because it always falls like Thanksgiving weekend and Christmas weekend. So, and we know we won't have anybody show up for that.
Mm-hmm.
So other than like for the fairs, we pretty much run every other month. But the projects, so like for year one, you have several small projects, and it's basically to get you to start learning fundamentals of, like, and it's gonna. I'm not gonna say this for all of it, but you're gonna have to learn hammer control because the projects, there's the J hook, the scroll hook, the heart hook. We do a lot of hooks, and we do
the meat hook. Does everybody do that?
No, we don't have them do that.
Oh.
That's something that they can do. Like if they get done early. Let me get back on track and then make sure I pull that back around.
Whoa, hey, May.
But there's like
May 31st at 5:14. Bob Fergus.
I think around the first year, I think there's like 4 or 5 projects, and a lot of the kids don't get them all done the first year. Well, that's fine. They just do what they got done, right? And actually, the way judging is supposed to work, you're judged on how much the part you got completed. So even if you don't get it completed, you can turn it in for judging, and you're judged on the work that has been done.
Okay.
And so that way, somebody that comes in, you got a third grader that comes in that's, 70 pounds soaking wet with their clothes on, that can barely swing one of our 400-gram hammers, which is what 400 grams is what, just right around a pound. It's not very heavy. That kid may struggle, but if we have a kid that comes in that's a junior in high school and it's his first year in blacksmithing, he's starting out in the same place. Well, he might be able to swing and work that hammer a little better than that younger person. So if you get all of your projects done, you could actually be doing second year projects in your first year if you show up for all the classes and you have like hammer technique and stuff down. Like we have a young man that's in this year, and I kind of expected him, like he hasn't been to every meeting. It's his first year, but like he's finishing stuff much faster than some of the other kids that are in his same age group.
Yeah. And
some that are older than him. But he done it. I mean, and like I said, he's first year, so he's like third grade, but he's done it outside of 4-H also.
Okay.
And his dad and his uncles went through the project. They were the like first year that we had the project they went through. So they've been around. He's been around it, and he's made some other stuff. And because like me and one of the other instructors were talking about induction forges today, and he was like, "That's what I made my bottle opener on." So that we got this third grade kid that's telling us about how he used an induction forge to forge a bottle opener.
Yeah.
But
I'm ready to get your forge fired up here, like in the fall.
Oh God. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, you better be ready too.
I know. I watched a kid pound one of them out today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yours is propane.
Yeah.
We can.
Oh well, and I got 2 of them too. So
yeah.
And the one we'll be able to put. Because I mean, heck, when I was doing when I did the big bottle openers batch for Christmas, what was that, 4 or 5 years ago? When I did that, I made 50 or 60 of those things. And I want to say I was doing them in the forge. I was putting 10 or 20 in at a time.
Remember the candy canes? We still hang that one up.
I don't think we take ours down. It's hanging in the front room window.
Oh, we
it hadn't been on the Christmas tree in years.
Oh.
That's another one I'd like to do again. That was really popular. That went over really, really well.
Andy, old welder Andy, for not Christmas, Valentine's Day, he made some roses, some steel roses. I guess he sold like a crap ton of them.
I know some folks that do them, and they make them out of titanium.
Yeah.
And sell, and they sell a gazillion of them every year.
Like the titanium because of colors?
Yeah. They'll do titanium, they'll do stainless ones just to get the color in it.
That's pretty neat. You ought to get back into that. You were hammering iron every chance. I mean, it was the winter. And
but I also worked a job where I was home at, on a really bad day, I was home by 4:30.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
I get off of work. On a good day, I'm off of work at 5:30 and still have an hour to drive home.
Yeah. That's all part of the experience.
It is. It is. And the funny thing is now it's like I don't have to do side work because I do okay at my regular job, so I don't really need the extra in.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm, you know how much I make. It's not like I'm like independently wealthy, but it's like we definitely earn a comfortable enough living that I don't like have to, like when I was at the fuel shop, I mean, I made a pittance there. It was a great, I love that job, but I made a pittance there. And like I was shooting competitive at the time. If it wasn't for my side work, I couldn't afford to have shot USPSA. I mean, I was talking with somebody here. I think it was down when we had lunch with Don. We were talking, and that was because we got on the topic of, because Don's kind of got out of shooting competition as well, and he shot bullseye. He shot bullseye with Carmen's dad way back when, and he was like, we were on that topic, and I was like, I was in Fort Smith, Arkansas, shooting Area 4 championship. And I says, I was sitting in a hotel room that night, and I figured up how much money I'd spent that year. And I says, it was the worst thing I ever did. I was like, because I quit shooting next year. It was like, I'm spending literally thousands of dollars a year. And if I hadn't had the mowing business, side business, I couldn't afford to do it. I mean, all the money I made, because all the money I made at work took care of all my household stuff, paid the bills, put food on the table, all that sort of stuff. And it's like, we didn't have expendable income. The expendable income we had came from mowing.
Yeah. Well,
and so at the time it was like, you got up, you went to work, you got off of work, you went and you mowed till almost dark, 3-4 nights a week. The nights I wasn't going and mowing, I was probably at the gun club, doing live fire practice with the guys I traveled with and shot with. And then every night when I got home, I would eat supper and I would go to the basement and I dry fired for an hour. 6, sometimes 7. If the match on Sunday didn't go good, Sunday night I come home and I was dry fire. I was setting up stages in the basement and I was dry firing because I knew I screwed something up. And it was like, you just can't do it. You gotta. And it's like, this is insane. This is. And I go to Area 4 and I did probably one of the best finishes I ever had at a major. Because I think I was second in my class, 4th overall in my division. So, and at Area 4 at the time, you got to go to the prize table at the end of the match in order to finish. So I got to go pretty quick. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get something cool. I left there. I've been on the road for, by the time it was over, I'd been on the road for 4 days, including shooting a match. So we left on Thursday night after work. over Labor Day weekend. We left Thursday night over after work, drove to Terre Haute, met up with the other guys that we shoot with in Indiana. Friday morning we got up and we drove like 14 hours to Fort Smith, Arkansas. Went out, walked the stages. We didn't even go to the hotel. We went to the gun range, walked the stages before they closed the range, drove back into town, checked into our hotel, went and got supper, got up Saturday morning. We shot a split match. So we shot half the stages Saturday afternoon and half the stages Sunday morning. So we got up Sunday morning, Saturday morning, ate breakfast, drove back out to the range. We walked stages as we were allowed to because the match was already going on until we were ready, till our start time was. And then we shot till like almost dark Saturday night. Drove back into town, ate supper, got up Sunday morning, went and did our thing, shot the matches. We wound up staying in Fort Smith, Arkansas Sunday until after the awards was over. So we didn't leave Fort Smith, Arkansas till like, what time was it? 5? Their time? So, and they were an hour different than us. And then we turned around and beelined back home. I take that back. I don't know what time we got to Coach's house in Terre Haute Sunday. Early Monday morning. I know we stopped there long enough to drop Jake off. And then we drove from Coach's house to my house. And then Craig had to drive the rest of the way back into Fort Wayne because he still lived in Fort Wayne at the time. He didn't live in Larwell. Yep.
My neighbor.
Yeah.
My ex-neighbor.
But
it's real funny you say that you know, about you had your mowing business support your hobby. Your boss back in the day, when I was just a wet behind the ears, little snot-nosed field mechanic for the cat dealership, I was over at the ranch over at his place doing an update on a skid loader, and he come out, and I knew who he was. He introduced himself, asked me what I was doing, and I asked him, because his last name isn't the last name, isn't the company name, and I asked him, how he came up with that, and he's like, oh, I bought the company with some partners, and then buying the partners out. I says, oh, okay. He's like, well, you know why I bought the company, don't you? I'm like, no, not really. He goes, these effing horses. They were real into horses, and they got those Arabians. They Fernando, those things are stupid. They're the dumbest horse. Fernando kind of knows horses. His wife does. Is only a guy with the Mexican dialect can say how he's drug dead ones out and how stupid they are. But you think an Arabian horse, just think of Aladdin. The ones on that movie are what his horses look like. And yeah, it's like, oh, so this whole dynasty, the largest excavating company in northern Indiana, was built because you and your wife love Arabian horses, and that's, I mean, not that I've ever done it, but like Lake of the Ozarks, everybody owns some huge company somewhere, and that's why they own it. It's because they want they just want the stuff that company can afford them, and just like you did, you had your mowing business, or after that you did your side work. And I mean, we were going to do Earls for a while, and I have no doubt in my mind, timing killed us on that, because you were all ready for Earls. Like, you were ready to sign papers, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
And then I was ready, you weren't.
Yeah.
And then Homer, I think Homer had us like just a nudge away from doing it.
Yep. Yeah. We definitely could have done it.
Yeah.
But it boils back down to it, though. We both wanted to do the same part of the business.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
We'd had to hire somebody to do the crap we didn't want to do.
And yeah, a good businessman is a good businessman. A good mechanic is not a good businessman. And it's nothing to say on you being a mechanic, but yeah, you can't. You can't do it all. And
you can be a mediocre mechanic and be a fine businessman though, because that's how you know
I think
what to do and what not to do.
I think you go into any tune-up shop, tire rotation, oil changes is full of mediocre. We're started by mediocre mechanics.
Yeah,
and they did not want to get into. I tell Gavin this all the time, and I hope he's listening. Gavin,
are you listening?
He is. He listens. He goes after the hardest jobs. Like he's got some stuff going on right now that I everything and I do. I claim to be a hydraulic expert. I don't know. We've done everything. We don't even talk about it anymore. He's run his course on it. I've run my course on it. It's kind of sitting in the back 40. But Gavin loves the hardest stuff in the world. And I get it. He's younger. He's got the ego and hair and all that crap. So obviously,
well, but the other side of that is sometimes that's your niche, because I mean you think about it. When I started doing the welding work here at the house, the welding work I was getting was the crap nobody else would touch. I mean, I remember fabricating dies so I could hand form steel panels.
And you're right. Okay. Morris Falk. Weld the magnesium. Nobody touch it. There's the reason why it's not worth it, but it was worth it to Morris. But
until he found out how much it cost.
Exactly. And that was the same thing. Everything you did, it was going to be so expensive. It's the same crap Gavin gets into. It's like he's got a business that every day 3 people go out and will do oil changes and services and all that. You got all these companies wanting you just to keep their stuff running, and Gavin's still chasing, like, show me the problem that the dealership can't figure out. And he's getting them. He just picked up a new customer that...
And right now, you're not going to see it, but I think it'll pay off.
Oh, I do. I think it's going to pay off for this many years, because the problem is with that technology, if you're not with the dealership, these manufacturers are just waiting to see the right to repair and how that actually ends up playing out. Because I think that's in the Supreme Court's hands. If they lose that, it's the dealerships all the way. That's the only people who are going to be able to work on your equipment. But it's but Gavin's a good businessman. He's that guy that does both of it good. He'll switch to something else. He'll probably sell ice cream.
Or by that time, he'll have enough money, he'll just buy a dealership.
Or he'll buy a dealership. There's one thing he ain't gonna do, and it's quit. He ain't gonna stop. If that guy stops, I'm gonna go check to see what color the sky is. Like, hold on, Gavin ain't working today. Well, he was telling me he's thinking about going on a vacation. And I just,
good. Gavin, you need to go on a vacation.
He needs to, but like for him, he could just stay at home, shut his phone off, and that's a vacation. But he won't.
That's the one thing I will say that I screwed up pretty bad early on was I worked all the time. If I took time off, to go shoot a match, and I didn't take time to go do stuff with my family, and that was, if I have a regret in life, that's it.
Yeah. We did. I mean,
it's not if I have a regret. That is my regret in life.
Yeah.
Is like I missed going and doing things with my family, because it was like I worked all the time, and then I wanted to go shoot someplace for 2 days.
I think we're doing Maine this year.
Are you?
We're gonna, I think, fall break. Because Alyssa got accepted in that school stuff where she's just medical crap now.
Yeah,
and
that's what kind of like Hadley did.
Yeah, but they can't miss, because you go to the meetings and like, this isn't like regular school. You can't miss this stuff. It's
right.
But so we're thinking about doing it fall break, or I don't want to do it Christmas break. Fall break I think would be about perfect. We checked with Amtrak, and the price ain't bad. I mean, it's expensive.
I seen a thing the other day that says you could go from the East Coast to the West Coast by train for like $235.
Yeah. What's funny, because you can't go from South Bend to Maine. You got to go to South Bend to New York.
Change trains.
Yeah, and that's still fine. It's like 23 hours. Like,
That's
no.
the part that kills it. If
Yeah.
if you were taking 3 weeks off, it'd be different.
The guy who used to do that, Brian,
Yeah.
he called me today.
Did you? Did he?
By accident.
Oh.
He was trying to get a hold of the other Mark.
Oh.
But yeah, because he used to go out west.
Yeah, they went out west the one time.
I think that's the only way to do that. Or really, go do it.
Yeah, because you can see so much stuff.
Yep, do it by train. I don't know. I wish there was a much more direct route going south, but obviously they got to get around those hills down there. They ain't
Yeah.
gonna go through them. But
How did we get on this?
your biggest regret: vacations.
Oh. Okay.
Gavin works too much. Business.
I work too much.
You work too much.
That was okay. So back to, I guess I can bring us full circle.
Bring
here.
us full circle.
So you were talking about how you kind of got your second win. It finally occurred to me this week what my problem has been.
You're a grumpy old cuss.
No, I'm tired. It's not that I'm bored with work or tired of doing it. I'm just tired. It like
exhausted, tired?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I think if I had like 2 weeks of just nothingness. And I don't mean that I'm going to not do anything, but like no work, no gym, just take like I do at Christmas. If I had, that's what I need.
Why don't you do it?
Because I don't want to take time off.
Well, I mean, maybe not 2 weeks, but
Well, I'm going to take a few days off like during Fair Week, and I made up my mind I'm going to do that.
end of June, right?
First part of July. It starts the 6th.
Okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
6th through the 12th.
I always judge ours because they're taking the Poland sled from Warsaw to Columbia City.
Yeah. So yeah, my plan is probably be at the fair Monday and Tuesday this year.
Yeah.
Because Tuesday's usually a day I'm out there in the shop doing demos. So. But.
Well, that's good. That's one thing. If
you know how I am. I don't like taking a week off, and unless we're like going out of town, I don't like to take a week off work. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, and realistically though, if taking a week off can make the following 3-4 months a lot more enjoyable or doable, I'm pretty sure your boss would say take time off. Because it's weird with you guys how it's every year right after Memorial Day, it's like it slows down. Production doesn't, but it's the equipment went out, you shook the cobwebs off of it, you kind of got it going. And
I think they said Friday we still have over 300 pieces of iron in the field.
Yeah. And by that time, it's not rain, and they're not running them scrapers through the mud. So
Yeah.
they're not breaking those things as much.
The guys had a scraper in the shop Friday afternoon. I'm not sure what they were doing to that. I didn't ask.
I know people tease Jeff about taking time off. It's like, man.
I think I think he's got the right as many hours as we work. I think you got to.
Yeah. I think the thing they always teased him about, we take time off, and a lot of times it's to do family vacations or go do something with your kid. Kid's on spring break. Want to spend a ton of time with my kid.
He's got a hobby that he really enjoys, and he's single, and
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all.
As much as I think people need to work and put in work, I definitely think that you need to balance that.
Yeah.
And I've never been very good at it. I'm starting to figure it out at almost 45 years old.
Yeah, it shouldn't be I only get X amount off a year. Take the stuff off you need to, and that's me and my mom actually just had this conversation. Yeah, I worked for a municipality a good portion of my career, and this municipality was odd because anytime you had in your pension and perf, they would count that towards your total seniority. So I worked at Warsaw with you, worked at Fort Wayne myself 2 times. At Fort Wayne, when I left there, I had like 5 weeks of vacation, a week of personal, and a week of sick. I went to the Case dealership, Case Construction, and I went there just under 2 weeks. And that, what is like just under 2 is 2 weeks altogether with the sick. And they were telling me like, we can give you a little extra if you need it. And I'm just like, how in the heck could I ever only take 2 weeks off? Like, how could I? And now I don't have anything. And I love it. I think it's the smartest thing. Because if at Fort Wayne, I used to take a day off because I seen something on Facebook and I wanted to be available if they messaged me back to go by.
Yeah.
But now, I don't.
When we worked at Warsaw, I took a day off to wait on a UPS. I'm lying. It wasn't UPS. It was a shipping truck.
Yeah.
Because remember, and then after that, you're like, you can just have that shipped here.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. All you got to do is let Jeff know you're going to have it shipped here. And I did the next one, and then I dropped it out of my truck.
You took that really well.
I did. I don't
for how you take stuff. Yeah, you took that really well. There was not gunfire.
I bought a brand new.
It took like 8 weeks to decide which one.
Brand new horizontal bandsaw for the shop. I ordered it, had it shipped to the city when we worked there, and loaded it in the back of my truck. And I told Mark when we were leaving work, I was like, "Hey, can you follow me home? Help me unload this thing." Because at the time, I didn't have any way to unload it other than by hand. And so he was going to meet me at the house. At that time, you were using one of them fancy vape sticks because you were going to get vape juice. And I remember I come off of Hand Avenue onto, was that Winona Avenue, turn the corner, and that thing come out of the bed. I had it strapped into the bed of the truck. And it still come out of the bed of the... I still haven't figured out how that happened.
Gosh, yeah, you did. You took that really well. We got it in the back in there.
And the only thing that was wrong is I had to call them and order a new fan for the motor, the fan cover, and the coolant reservoir. It didn't get damaged, but it was blow molded, and it was really thin in one corner. And I remember the first time I filled it up, it dumped all over the floor.
Oh.
But, it worked out pretty good because I had the parts. I called them the first thing the next morning and told them I needed those parts. And they're like, well, I was like, I didn't ask for it to be a warranty. I was like, I dropped it out of my truck.
Yeah.
I just need the parts. They're, oh, okay. And so they shipped them out. And if I remember right, I think they overnighted them to me, and I don't think I had to pay I think they felt bad for me.
Oh.
Because I got some special shipping because I had the saw up and running in less than 3 days from the day it showed up.
Yeah, that was the stuff you used to take time off for, but now neither of us get paid holidays or any of that stuff.
Let's talk about that. That was one thing last year during the whole election cycle. And I heard a lot of conservative people hollering about union employees and all the free stuff they get. I hate to break it to you, that's not how every union works.
Yeah. Don't compare us to the UAW.
Yeah. Because if we don't go to work, we don't get paid.
Yep.
If it's a holiday and it's a government holiday and we're off of work, we don't get holiday pay.
Yep. Yeah. And we don't do our job good enough, we go back to the board.
Yeah.
But plain and simple, there is nothing. And if that happens 2 or 3 times, they just get rid of you. The union has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, because you're non-hireable.
We all thought that, unless you grew up in a really pro-union family, every one of us thought the same. The union just protects the lazy, because that's kind of what you're told by certain things. No, we're not. And I'm not poking the UAW. I'm just saying they are like, there's a really strong union that has all the union benefits in the world, but they also have vacation. We're like contracted out to these companies, and that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
There's nothing there's just as much language for them to be able to get rid of us as there is for them keeping us.
Yeah.
It's hard, but yeah, like you say, we don't get any of that. We go to jury duty, like we go do our public or civic duty. We're getting the $14 they give you. We get we get sick. You know, now where you work, you're there 5 years, you get a week.
Yep.
Like, you know, and that's just something the owner decided to do, and that's really nice. I get vacation pay,
but that 5 days is not from the union.
Nope.
That is from the employer that hired the union employee.
Yeah, and that's one of my benefits is I get $1 something an hour put into an account, and then in January it gets given to us.
But that's probably like what do they call that? A shop agreement? That's probably an agreement between the union and the company.
Oh, no, that's the union. The company. The company
oh, yeah,
because
you're in the 150.
Yeah, 150.
Yeah,
that's
I keep forgetting that.
But
we're not in the same one anymore.
It's really good. But 324 up in Michigan, those guys like get multiple dollars an hour put into their thing. There's a whole bunch of that. Like, you know, our but let's get into it. So our insurance, all we have is health insurance. We don't have dental. We don't have vision.
I was gonna say the vision and dental I have is through Carmen.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it's no problem. But we're not setting the world on fire. And really, the only reason you and I get paid good is because we get paid like operators. We don't get paid like mechanics and welders. We get paid. I don't know why operators get that. I don't care why. But yeah, there is nobody. I promise you, I don't want to say half. I promise you, the majority of the people on our job sites, on your job sites, that truck stops, they're jumping out, hopping into their machine. Like there's those there. Yeah. Now there's a few people that like they kiss up to the boss. It's not the union protecting them. It's just the boss. You know, the boss is making sure they get some cush stuff. But yeah, I
but
don't
when
care.
you've worked together, because I mean, I think you and I were always fair when we were working together, and one of us was the boss.
Well, we have to, because we never know who's going to be the boss the next time.
But I guess what I'm getting at is I think we put stuff off onto each other because it was like we knew.
I did to you big time. Shop foreman.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
I trusted you.
Yeah.
I needed
thing.
somebody I could trust.
And that's what I was getting at. I just remember it was at the Case dealership. I give you that CX240 to do the idlers on.
Yeah.
And the guys, I don't remember who it was. It may have been the individual you and I were talking about earlier that you talked to on the phone. Not Brian, the other one.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was him or who it was. But somebody come up to me and they was complaining because you were sitting out there on the edge of the track and you weren't doing anything. And you're like, why don't you go out and say something to Mark about it? I was like, have you beat your estimated time on the stuff that you're working on? He's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, that job got sold at 14 hours and Mark had it done in 6. He can afford to sit on that track for a little bit.
Yeah. I think he knows that stuff now.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was there was just so many young guys that didn't grasp how it worked.
Yeah.
And it was like, to me, where I'm at now, you can't really do that the same way because you just got to bounce from this to that to the next.
Yeah,
but at a dealership where it's like, I've got you scheduled to do this job and we had it figured at 14 hours and everything went smooth. No bolts broke. You know, the master link on the tracks came apart good. there was no goofiness. All the stuff we had planned for didn't. And I wound up cutting some labor a little bit off of that. I think we only wound up charging dude like 12 hours for it. Saved him a little bit. And if you're sitting there complaining about that, hearing what I'm saying right now, that's the way a dealership makes money.
The other way a lot too.
Yeah. There was a whole lot of other times when I had some jackwagon that had 20. Let me back up. How many hours did he had? Nearly 100 hours in a machine that we had bidded out for 54 hours, and I about had a stroke.
Yep. That
was when my hair started going really gray.
That is life, and that's, you know, the individual.
And that's what makes up for that is, and you can't look at it and say, hey, because if we really went by book time, that was kind of what we ballparked it off of, and then we would add a little bit. It's an older machine. Yeah. It's a piece of construction equipment. It's covered in mud. It's rusty because you're working on tracks. You're working on stuff that's in horrible environments. Like, and you look at how heavy some of the iron is on a piece of construction equipment. We have guys bend that crap up. We had a guy tear a whole hub and wheel assembly off of a front wheel assist 240 Magnum.
Yeah.
Bent the axle shaft.
You bid it like that, you got to pay it like that. And as soon as you make heavy equipment mechanics flat rate, the problem is, cars. You were a flat rate mechanic. You've seen parking lots full of cars. I got plenty of work out there. It's get these done, make my money. Heavy equipment don't come in until you need it, and we don't always know.
Right.
So if I don't think there's work coming up, I'm going to find broken bolts. I'm going to find this. I'm going to find that. Because there's you show me any piece of equipment that's run for 15, 20 hours, I'll find you some broken stuff. I'll find you something that needs done. And yeah, there's a lot of people just charge exactly what it costs. It don't work like that.
And the other side of it is, you got to think about how a person that owns that piece of construction equipment is charging for that. I mean, we have an hourly rate for every piece of equipment that our company owns.
Yep.
You know, it's like if we've got 6 pieces of iron sitting on a job, this one goes for however many hundreds of dollars an hour. This one goes for however many. You got to remember that's when we were at Case, a 621 wheel loader was what, $210,000.
As a house payment.
Yeah.
and those
that you
things
didn't get 30 years to pay for.
Yeah, those things would go out a lot of places like snow removal and just sit there.
Yeah.
And we didn't care. It's not in our lot available to rent.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're more than happy to we'll let it sit in our lot, and then when it starts snowing, we'll jack the price up. Because it's business. You didn't have to come to us. There were cheaper places.
Yep.
And that's always that is a young person who gets into the industry who's going to start going on their own. The first thing they're going to do, they're going to get cheaper than everybody else. Second thing they're going to do, I'm going to charge only what it costs. Third thing they're going to do, I'm going to help everybody in the order they come. None of that works.
Nope.
Because Primco, walk through that door, drop what you're doing. Why? Yep. Because their credit line that we could see was like $1 million.
Yeah.
And they would do almost $1 million a year buying equipment.
They did more than that, I bet.
Yeah, but and you did what you had to do to keep them happy. They don't anymore.
Yep. Well, that's because there is no Primco.
Yeah, well, Milestone. No, Milestone bought the pit down from you guys up off 33, the old Nibco or Niblock pit.
Did they?
Yeah, Milestone bought that. My gosh, shots fired. I like seeing that though. You guys ain't planning on selling.
Yeah, Milestone's a big company.
Yeah.
The only thing I worry about with Milestone is them getting whacked like Martin Marietta did. Because, I mean, you can go from one end of the state to the other and you're going to see if there's road construction going on there. You can almost guarantee you're going to see something that says Milestone.
Yeah, I think the thing that whacked Martin Marietta was these small pits that he wasn't buying, that they weren't buying out, started screaming monopoly. But Milestone, the companies like you work for, like Great X, they're big guys, they're big companies, and they ain't selling. I don't think. I mean, I know.
Well, I know Great X is like, because I know some guys that work for Great X. I know those guys say their owners are like, they want to grow.
Yeah. What did Great X just buy? They bought some heavy hauling company.
Yeah.
Al was telling me about that.
Yeah.
Because Al's
out of Tennessee or someplace. Yeah.
Al's working for him right now, and he was waiting for this job to get done because he's wanting to go out to Google. And I get it. Like, that's how Al, he's been a union operator. He's just a stick puller, and he's not used to just going somewhere and like that's your home. But he's with Great X. The foreman likes him, and this foreman, they're bringing in some female foreman up to do some work in Wabash. They want him to go, and he's like, I just want to go to. He wants to go to Google because this year, Google's doing a whole bunch, 12-hour days, 6 days a week. This year. Yeah,
well, that's what they say, but as far as I know, that job keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah, I think they finally got the permits.
Okay.
Because the wetlands stuff that was going on.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, they got the permits.
See, I'm in a black box. I'm not allowed to. I just get whispers.
Well, and that's because Al's like, well, they're going to probably have to end up moving a building. Like, you're not a company like Google. You don't move buildings. You move elected officials. They're in a wetland out there. It's like, what, the spotted leopard lives there? Like, kill it. we'll pay the fine.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll advertise for green energy tomorrow.
Yeah, we bought. Hey, we've talked about this on the phone, but so you hear these celebrities.
Here we go.
You hear these celebrities. Their excuses with their jets, like, oh no, it's okay. I buy carbon offsets. We both own a decent amount of land with woods on them, so I am burning tires every day. And when the fire department shows up, I'm saying, "You see that behind here? That woods? That's mine. It's my carbon offset." And if there ain't enough, I'll lease my neighbor's woods.
Well, you know what's prompting us turning over more and more ground every time I talk to you, don't you? Because they sent that stupid. I got my assessment from the county on my property taxes, and then 2 weeks later, I get a new assessment because they refigured all of the ag ground in Kosciuszko County, and so my taxes went up again.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay. I know my place is zoned ag, so I might as well start getting as much benefit as I can.
My thought is that by this fall, I'm going to be turning over all that ground at the gun range. There will be a path wide enough for a tiller to get through around the gun range.
No, because I want to leave some of that like grass and stuff back there, because I know we've had. Like, I've worked really hard to create some habitat for rabbits and stuff like that.
They're gonna love what you're planting.
Well, I know, and I'm okay with that. I'm gonna pull a mark, and I'm gonna go out there and kick one row of corn down for him.
Yeah, that's what you gotta kick it down. Raccoons will take it down. You just feed those things more.
I'm shooting the raccoons. Yeah. I hate them little trash pandas.
I got a live trap. We get off the air, I'll tell you how you handle that.
My old buddy Andy taught me how you handle coons and live traps. Apparently, you take them fishing.
Yeah.
He was a twisted individual.
That's good. That's good. We get more ground turned back there, and
we gotta have room for tobacco.
You could be a tobacco farmer. I think it's neat.
I want to try. I think it'll be fun to at least try, see how it works out. I've got all my seed picked out. I think.
And I've asked you this 100. Now it's gonna be 101 times. You start those seeds indoors, right?
Yes.
So if it's a tobacco, since it's a leaf, you can you can start them under these lights. They're good enough. You don't need no. And
Nothing
that's
crazy.
anybody listening. You do not need any type of special. You go to a shop light. You can start your seeds under.
Yeah. But
That's how.
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Like I said, as long as something weird don't happen this winter, yeah, probably end of December I'll get seeds coming. Because I think if I did the math right on all the varietals I have picked out, I think I'll need to start them by the end of January, like first week of February, so they're ready to plant.
Are you going to have risk of cross-pollination or anything?
I don't know. Do I look like a tobacco farmer?
I don't. I'm waiting to see what your corn tastes like.
I got that separated, I think.
Oh.
It's I got more space between the corn than you do in a test plot. I should be okay.
There you go. you got it.
And if not, I'm not telling anybody where the seed came
Yeah,
from.
exactly.
so-
That's all I ask. I don't know who gave you the seed.
I
but
think you just gave it away.
I signed the disclosure. You didn't sign anything. You stole that seed from me. No,
I kind of did.
that'll be that'll be nice. Yeah, this fall we'll get you some more ground turned. Harvest a few more rocks.
Oh my! Speaking of that, okay. So here at the old Six Guns homestead, we grow rocks like
Very
mad.
well.
Very
Very
well. I'm pretty sure I live on top of an old gravel pit. But anyways, that brand new, when we decided we were going to get back into doing this stuff, the garden I wanted, my old Gilson tiller, I rebuilt it when I got it, and it was old when I got it 20 years ago. It was probably 20 years old when I got it and had to put it back together. So I decided this year I was just going to go buy a new rear tine tiller, which I did. I ran a rock through that thing because I told you I was running the tiller across before when we would plant in the garden rows, just kind of even things out. I ran a rock between the wheel and the frame on the tiller and bent the wheel.
Jeez.
I was going along and I was like, did that wheel come loose? And I was like, oh no, the rim's bent.
Gosh. Yeah,
I was like, that ain't good.
as I seen a bunch of rocks. in
So
there.
it still pulls, so I'll order one this fall. I don't know how it's still holding air. I really
Just
don't.
order a tiller for the deer.
So Carmen and I have been discussing this, and I think come March, I'm going to go get a tiller, a landscape rake, and I might buy a rough cut for the back of the tractor.
Man.
We went and looked and checked prices and all that sort of stuff, and I says it's going to suck buying it all at once, but I like...
Are we making royalties that I don't know about?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I'm just banking on working a lot of overtime. I wish they'd hurry up and tell me that I don't have to pay taxes on overtime.
I wonder how that's going to work with us.
What do you mean?
You work 9 hours in a day. One of those hours is automatically overtime. What if you only work 16 hours and you work them all in one day? 8 hours, that would still be overtime.
Yeah.
Or is it over 40? Or are they going to...
I'm going to say it's going to be just the way...
If it's classified as?
No, because just like they separate it out on your check.
Yeah.
Because it's two different pay rates. Right? So this column's going to get... I don't think it'll be that big a deal because they're not taxing it until they've tallied up your time. So at that point, it's like, okay, for us, to me, it would be like, okay, they just tax the straight time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just didn't know Because if they can just classify it.
Well, that's where these people that get cushy paid time off for PTO and vacation and all that sort of stuff, if they want to get paid after 8 hours overtime, then they'll have to give up their vacation time like we did.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that was not a very pleasant thing to say, but that's one of the things that we did. I mean, we traded vacation time because if it's the reason I can work a 4-day work week if we're working 10s, and I only work 40 hours that week.
But yeah,
I got 32 hours of straight time and 10 hours of overtime. My check's the same as if I work a 40, whatever.
Yeah.
I got 8 hours of overtime. My check's the same as if I worked, 48 hours the other way?
Yeah.
Or how, what I'm trying to say.
It works out nice. Or like my schedule's a 4-10, so I work 10-hour days at straight time. But if I work 11 at 1 hours, But anything on Friday is automatic overtime. And that's what I was wondering. Like, I wonder how that'll work. And but the thing is, I would say, I'd hope I hope we get away. I don't want to say get away with it. I hope it works out to where it's how it's classified, because then employers can start classifying stuff different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're already talking about with that bill. It's like, well, we can only do this for 4 years. We can't afford it. Like, we can afford that. How much tax I pay? I don't know whatever happened to the group of people that dumped a bunch of tea in a harbor in Boston because of...
They got blue hair and nose rings.
Yeah, well, because of a little tax. I mean, I have no issue paying tax at all, but...
I do.
I don't mind our roads. I don't mind our military and that. I got an issue paying as much tax as we are, and yeah.
That's where I'm at. It's the amount. And then we tax everything and tax it again.
And then we
tax it again.
We got a guy, it's like, hey, I'm going to find this waste, fraud, and abuse. And they just start burning down his cars. And I think he pandered to him. Because after it got real bad, it just went quiet. They weren't talking crap anymore, but they weren't really talking about him anymore. And
well, I was a little disappointed when I heard what's his name?
Who?
Bongino and
Bongino and
the FBI guy.
Oh, Patel,
Kash Patel. When they come out and pretty much said that Epstein hung himself, I'm like, oh, come on now. You guys didn't believe that beforehand. Now you're telling me that you do? Okay, that's enough politics.
Yeah. I gotta go grocery shopping tonight.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, but I missed a kid's birthday party, so.
Wasn't your kid's birthday party, was it? Okay.
No, we stopped having birthday parties for our kids after like 2 years old, like normal human beings.
You didn't have like a Sweet 16 party for your daughter?
No, no, it's called a quinceañera, and we're not Mexican. The Mexican
Speak
girl
English.
turns 16. It's a quinceañera. Like, I think it's like their goal: be a good kid. You get this huge, fabulous 16th birthday, or I don't know. Somebody else.
I think we did. I don't know that we got real carried away for Hadley's 16th, but like we did a nice ordeal for her when she turned 18. We had a surprise party and stuff for her.
Yeah, we don't. I was at your 40th surprise.
Yeah.
We don't. I told Katie, I says, I would be very upset with you if you'd. I'm not into parties.
You know what was funny about that? You know how I figured out that was taking place?
Your mom didn't call you and tell
you?
My
mom didn't call me and sing happy birthday.
Yeah.
That is how I knew something was going on. And then, because it was also a Saturday that I had blacksmith kids, and I'm at the blacksmith shop, I knew I was going to be done by noon. Actually, it was the end of August, so we only had an early class. And my brother texts me and says, hey, what are you doing when you get done at the blacksmith shop? I was like, I don't know why. like, well, me and Corbin are going to come up, and Corbin's looking for a pistol. You want to go gun shopping? We were going to go head over to Fort Wayne and hit some of the gun shops over there, and we'd like to go to that place you always go. I was like, and at first I didn't think anything about it. I was like, yeah, I'll be at the house. So when I got home from the blacksmith shop, I had come home, took a shower, put on clean clothes, and by the time I was dressed, Chris and Corbin were in the driveway. Like, okay, whatever. And we take off, and I took them up to, what's the name of that place? Tomlinson's, up in Busco. We go up to Tomlinson's, took them around in there, because I think I'd had Chris there before, but Corbin had never been. And I started asking about what they were looking for. Well, just whatever. I'm like, and like, it was goofy stuff. It was like, okay, something's going on. And I even said we were coming back from Fort Wayne, and I looked at Chris. I was like, there's something sketchy going on, isn't there? He was like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, you guys just called me out of the blue, told me you were looking for a particular gun, and then when we start looking for it, you can't tell me what it is. And I says, I haven't heard from Mom all day. I was like, Mom calls me at like 7 o'clock in the morning and sings happy birthday into my voicemail if I don't answer. I was like, I have heard nada out of our mother. And he's like, I don't know anything. And sure enough, we pull in the driveway and there's a gazillion people here. It was really cool. I was.
You weren't surprised. You don't gotta go. Don't lie.
I wasn't super surprised, but some of the people that were here, that I had no idea that Carmen would even know to talk to, were here, and so some of the people that showed up, the effort that she went to get people to come and get the word out that they were doing it is because it was like, it was awesome. Like, some of the guys from Purity were here, and you guys, you came by. My brothers were here. Lee and Gosha, they didn't make it down. I don't remember. One of them was sick or something. But, like, Lee called and talked to me while everybody was here, called and talked to me on the phone. My brother Kevin at the time, he didn't come up, but he called me that night and talked to me while everybody was here. Mm-hmm. And none of them kept me on the phone very long. They're like, hey, we just wanted to call after the party was going. Tell you sorry we didn't make it, and yada, yada, yada.
I didn't know that was an option. Carmen didn't tell me I could do that.
You can't.
Oh.
You're not allowed.
Damn.
But anyway.
Yeah,
it was good. No.
See, I'm not a partier like that.
And then I got the banquet room for Carmen's 40th at Mads in Warsaw. We had a good time at that. I drank a lot of old fashions.
Yeah?
Yeah. I won't lie. That's the most expensive bar tab I've ever had in my life. I'll put it to you this way. It was high enough that the tip was more than the biggest bar tab I'd ever had before. But I had to pay for the room, and
yeah.
I don't remember. I bought wings, and I don't remember. I had some food. I didn't buy like normal food. I bought appetizers. I figured all them freeloaders that were showing up could buy their own supper. I'd cover appetizers because I'm cheap.
What do you got next year's her? You have a 21st birthday?
No, Hadley will be 20 in January.
Okay, so 2 years.
2 years.
Whew.
I told her boyfriend though. He turns 21 this year.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. As long as his dad's okay with it. I got a plan if his dad's game. So, I think if his dad's good with it, I think I'm going to take the two of them to Massinawal Cigar Company for drinks and some cigars. And
oh, I thought you were going to take them over to North Webster.
No, that's stupid.
Night shift.
No, I think you get a sexually transmitted disease on the sidewalk in front of that place.
Every night we'll come home, all of us be together, coming home in the dark. The girls, there's the strip club night lights because they got the searchlights.
Yeah,
we're 15 miles from there, and you can see them.
You can get meth and an STD all in one stop.
And barbecue right next to it. Pretty good barbecue.
And barbecue next door.
Shoes across the way. It's funny. They do the tree lighting. You know, that's something we like to go to. Is those tree lightings.
I've never been to the one in Webster.
It's a pretty good gig, except when you're everybody's sitting there. It's like 5, 4 strip club lights are just going off because you're right there in that square, and they know it's like, come on, one night a year you can't turn those off.
Nope.
How that ever came to be, I don't know, but in Kosciuszko County in North Webster, how they snuck a strip club in there.
Yeah.
That is, and all the stories you hear about it, it's like, how are you not who are you paying? I don't know who the county director is there, but like, you must be getting a check or something.
It is a bizarre thing. It's all the rich people on the lakes. That's my guess.
Oh yeah, well that's these lakes around here. The only reason the lakes in this area are worth, I mean, lake property is worth a lot. This area, it's double what normal is. It's because we are just outside, and I was told this, we are just outside the 2-hour call-in window for the doctors in Chicago.
Have you ever drove around Winona Lake?
Yeah, any of these.
You drive around and look how many Illinois plates there are.
That was our place on Barbee's saying.
When I was still active at the gun club, I will never forget that. Like, we have all these. You get a guy that was retired and he's got a Winona Lake address, and you talk to him. They bought a house 5-10 years ago on Winona Lake, or in the village at Winona, a block off the lake, and they retired over here because it's cheaper than being around Chicago.
Yeah, Winona Lake is cheaper.
It is.
No, I'm with you. That's Winona Lake's cheaper than Chicago.
Like, I know a retired postal carrier from Chicago that has a lake house on Winona Lake.
Because there's nobody in Winona Lake that lives in Winona Lake. Like there's
there is now.
Unless you're like your family owned the ground. And,
yeah. There's a lot of old money on Winona.
Yeah, there's enough to stop truck pulls at a county fair.
Yeah.
Anything fun, that brought in people. And I always said that about Warsaw. I said Warsaw puts on some of the best, or Kosciuszko Fair, because they're not interested at all in making money. They were just there to put a show on. And then a handful of people on that lake, I don't know if it's a rumor or what, but they said, it was some of the non-whites bands going on. And
for some of the rodeos and stuff.
Yeah, that pushed them over. That's part of living on a lake, folks. That is that.
And to me, they're gonna ruin it, because the one thing that makes Kosciuszko County's fairgrounds unique is it's on the lake.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many hundreds of feet of water. Our track is waterfront.
Yeah, but they don't own it, right? It's
like a life lease.
Yeah, but if it's sold, it's horrible. Is well off is why, because like Abate, I never knew it, but when I did my motorcycle class, I did through Abate.
Yeah,
and they said in Indiana, Kosciuszko was the most involved, but just like your 4-H, very, very involved. You have all of this, and yet now you got a little bit of a demolition derby. I think they still have, but the truck pulls were always good. The dirt drags, the rodeos, all that stuff they put on. You live on a lake. It's somebody every weekend or every week on the lake. It's somebody's vacation.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's like we have some friends that have a place on another lake in the area. And I remember I worked for him at one point in time, and we just happened to be family friends with his wife. So it was not uncommon, even though I worked for him, it was not uncommon for us to go over to their place on the weekends in the summertime and have a little soiree. and I mean, it's a lake. People got drunk. We went out on the boat. People were loud. There was loud music. It's a lake.
Yeah.
People are going. Now, most people are civilized enough. When it starts to get dark, they calm down, shut up, and then and there's a reason for that. Because at a light whisper on a quiet lake,
Yep.
you can hear what the people 2.5 miles across the water are saying.
Yeah. And that was everybody was there to have a good time, and at night, yeah, there was the group of kids, but here's the thing, like, we all want to get mad at all these kids and say, well, they'll never leave the house. Well, listen here, Gladys, when they leave the house, you call them in for driving their dirt bike through your field, and we need to get this whole culture of you're gonna get sued. You're only going to get sued as if you're pushing for it.
Yeah.
That's get off this whole thought of that's easy street. You know, that's another episode titled Mark and Bob's Rants. I don't think the world's ready for that one.
No, that's because we would go back to smoking each other in a mug and
yeah. Well,
and then okay. My nose is bleeding. Your lips split.
Yeah.
Let's go have a beer and we'll just relax.
Yeah. It's like, you got your shit worked out?
And we'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, I remember when that first happened, I talked to you and I'm like, there ain't no way that could happen. And you said who was doing it and said it's probably going to happen. And that was horrible because we were at that point in time, we were pretty involved with the truck pulling, and it is this like, gosh, because we've seen the inner workings of it.
Yeah.
Like for the volunteers, they had a liquor shed. It was all the alcohol you wanted. Margarita machines running in there.
Oh my God, we killed some margaritas one year.
Yeah, you cost whatever you want. It was drunk, and we were in my little Kubota, but they just wanted to put on a show. They didn't care. Like, is this put on a good show? That's all we want. And you see a community do that, and then the worst part is it's like because this is the county doing this stuff. And the city, we knew this from working for a city, the city comes in and helps with everything they can. And people who have nothing to do with Warsaw, I mean, they do have something to do with the county, are the ones dictating this, because Winona Lake you might as well be Mars.
Yep.
That was too bad how that worked out. In Columbia City, one of the best diesel pullers in this area is from Columbia City. And it's not the city stopping them, but they're having issues too with pulls.
Yeah, it's getting everybody complains about too much stuff.
Yeah,
they just need to it's like it's if it's off and on and it's not a regular thing, who cares?
Yeah, unless you're at the lake, that's every weekend.
That's just a weekend. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
As I'm still part of the Barbie Lake Untamed or whatever it's called group, just so I can provoke the old women on there who start complaining when these kids are driving. I've seen some stuff. It's like these kids are gonna get hurt and run themselves over. They're gonna run themselves over with a golf cart. They're gonna kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need more kids run themselves over with golf carts. Like
I remember running people over with 3-wheelers.
Yes, I was gonna say that's the stuff.
And
we did.
They were certified death traps by the government.
Yeah, and these people were innocent bystanders. It's like they wanted nothing to do with this. But when we stopped having BB gun wars,
oh my!
And I don't think my nephews, they're little monsters. The problem is they start becoming monsters. What did our parents tell us? Go outside. It was never put that knife down. Go outside. So we go outside to start chasing each other. Now, their parents come in there and it's like, yeah, no. Here, and then they shove a controller in their face. Play your video games.
Yeah.
And that's it.
We used to go outside and shoot each other with BBs.
Yeah. It's like only one pope. Like, yeah, clunk, 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 clunk. I heard more than one, and you're over there doing the same thing. It's like, telling this dude.
I remember digging a BB out of my thigh that went through my jeans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember jumping out of the second story of my parents' house.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my God.
All right.
All right, we're gonna wrap this
Yeah.
up. So I have no idea what we talked about. I'm gonna have to listen to part of this so I can figure out how to title
This is
it.
everywhere.
We're gonna have to hire Frank back so he can do all this crap. Anyways, we appreciate everybody tuning in and giving us a listen. And real quick here at the end, I forgot to do this at the beginning. I can't tell you how much we appreciate the feedback that we've got.
Yes.
Very,
very kind.
You know
words.
who you are, man. You sent me an audio message via Instagram and let me know that you've been listening and that sort of stuff. And I cannot tell you, folks that do that kind of stuff, how much we appreciate it. So,
Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you all have a good week and take care.
This product can expose you to tobacco smoke, which is known to the state of California to cause cancer, and nicotine, which is known to the state of California to cause birth defects or other reproductive harm. For more information, go to p65warnings.ca.gov.